Earth became a terrible place after being attacked by alien forces that came from outer space. Even humans also attacked each other because they tried to survive and defend their food sources. At the beginning of the film, a man was shown in a car that could not run because the battery was not functioning properly. The man's name was Bannon. He was trapped and had just woken up from his sleep for a few days. When he woke up, he found that the city had been abandoned by people. The continuous rain made it difficult for Bannon to see, especially since electricity was also not available. Bannon was very frustrated. Food and drink were the only things he had to get in order to survive. Only his cell phone accompanied him at this time. Voice recordings and chats became a cure for longing when he was still with his family. In the back row of the car, there was a plastic bag that Bannon could use to cover his body from the heavy rain. He had to go find something that could still be used. A few steps Bannon headed towards an empty building, and it seemed like a mini-market. There was no one there, only the remains of goods that had been looted by people. Bannon found a tap that was still producing water, but the taste of the water was very bad and bad. Maybe the water had been contaminated by hazardous materials. Water became very difficult to find. Bannon continued to look for something that might still be usable or leftover food. When he looked out the window, Bannon saw an alien creature like a giant spider walking around looking for the remaining humans. Bannon also saw someone still surviving in a building. Someone seemed to be aware of Bannon's presence, then he turned off the lights. Bannon went back to looking for something and found canned food that seemed still edible. He put it away and went back to looking for something. Bannon found someone's body with a weapon and a radio nearby. The radio was still working. He even found 2 radios. Bannon found a combination of numbers where it was a radio channel. But Bannon didn't find anyone on the channel. Bannon continued his search and found a room that looked like a dance room. But soon there was a woman's figure approaching him, making Bannon scared. It turned out to be just a hallucination. Then not long after someone called from the radio that Bannon brought, the voice kept calling until Bannon answered it. In the end, Bannon can still talk to humans. They introduce themselves to each other. The man on the radio is named Demian. He asks Bannon to stay and will pick him up there. While waiting, Bannon is asked to look for food. Bannon has canned food, but he hasn't opened it because it's for supplies. The problem now is drinking water. Bannon tries to collect rainwater, but suddenly someone from Bannon's hallucination says that if Bannon is hesitant, don't drink the rainwater. The rainwater doesn't seem like ordinary rainwater and may contain many chemicals that are harmful to the body. Demian contacts Bannon again while telling him to stay there and not go anywhere. But of course, Bannon can't do that because he has to find more supplies. Bannon walks back and finds a statue and is covered in diamond-like stones. But when he's about to touch it, Bannon hears someone's voice asking for help from inside the room. Bannon traces the source of the sound, and it turns out that the source of the sound comes from a scary black alien creature that is ready to attack Bannon. Bannon has a weapon, but unfortunately, he can't use it. Bannon tries to escape and is chased by the alien. When there was a chance, Bannon hid and turned off the flashlight he was holding. The alien's voice could make people who heard it have severe hallucinations and become very vulnerable to attack. At that time, Bannon hallucinated in a forest, saw wolves, saw his teeth fall out and something grow in his teeth, and also saw an old man doing a ritual. Soon Bannon regained consciousness and looked out that these aliens were increasingly rampant in controlling the Earth. Bannon had to keep moving to find food sources. Luckily, he found a plant with fruit, although not much, but enough to give Bannon energy. Bannon felt that it was not enough, so he tried to open the canned food. But Demian called him again and asked where Bannon was. Bannon had to leave his original position because he had to look for food and was being chased by an alien creature. Demian said that the alien was nicknamed a bloodsucker. The creature would make sounds that were similar to humans asking for help. That way other people would be interested and tempted, and would suck their blood. Besides that, Demian also taught Bannon how to use weapons. Bannon thanked Demian for helping him in this matter. Then the voices of the aliens made Bannon a little surprised again. Demian said that maybe he would arrive longer than the initial target, because in that city there were lots of bloodsuckers roaming around. Until Bannon saw a wall that was quite high. He tried to get through it by climbing a tree, but unfortunately it didn't work because there was an alien shot that was aimed at him until Bannon fell. Bannon had to take cover in the building and keep moving so as not to be killed by alien gunfire. Bannon entered another building and saw a man there. Bannon approached him slowly and asked the man to hand over his bag and whatever he had. But there was a fight between them until Bannon fired a shot that hit the man's leg. Bannon took the man's bag and left it there. Even though the man begged Bannon not to leave him, Bannon still had to move. Bannon hid in a room to just take a drink, but the drink also tasted very bad and made him even more annoyed. Then Bannon heard a sound from the hallway, and it turned out to be Bloodsucker. Bannon had to hide. Bloodsucker started looking for Bannon's location. Luckily, the Bloodsucker left after hearing someone screaming from a distance. Bannon was almost desperate at that time, but luck was still on his side. Bannon walked again and was found by an old man who pulled him into his room. Bannon was given food and drink, although the drink tasted the same as the one outside. Bannon actually didn't know who the old man was. The old man considered Bannon his son, and they had to survive together there until the end of the world. Bannon wouldn't do that. He had to keep moving looking for something useful. In the end, he found a battery for his car, and luckily, the battery was still working. Bannon told this to Demian. That was good for him, so when they met, Bannon's car could be used again. Bannon returned to his car, but he met the Bloodsucker again. Bannon had to find a way to distract the Bloodsucker. He used the other radio as bait. Then Bannon started shouting, using the radio he was holding until the Bloodsucker was provoked. After it felt safe, Bannon started moving and heading towards his car. But unfortunately, Bannon just realized he dropped his car battery outside. When he was about to take it back, the Bloodsucker was there. This time, the alien knew where Bannon was and started going crazy. Bannon remembered that he had a weapon, but before he could shoot his weapon, the Bloodsucker was shot by an outside direction. It turned out to be Demian. Demian arrived just in time and saved Bannon. Unfortunately, because of the ferocity of the Bloodsucker, the car battery leaked and could not be used anymore. Demian invited Bannon to leave the location and go to a place that Demian had determined. There were still many humans who survived and were safer from the Bloodsuckers. Bannon was asked to go through the underground tunnel, while Demian would use another route. That way they could trick the Bloodsuckers' movements. Bannon started walking and kept walking, even though the light was getting less and less visible. Until a few moments later, he saw a light at the end of the tunnel, a dense forest and warm sunlight. Bannon came out of the darkness and began to enter the forest. There were indeed no Bloodsuckers there, but the problem was that there were armed humans who were ready to finish him off. Again, Bannon had to hide from them, sneaking like a ninja in the forest. Not long after, Demian appeared and invited Bannon to join him in finding a safer path. When Demian urinates, Bannon sees the same weapon as the armed humans. Is Demian part of them? Bannon doesn't want to think about anything. Bannon finds a river that looks clean, but in fact, it tastes the same, not fit for consumption. At least he and Demian managed to get out of town and get away from the Bloodsuckers. Now they are looking for humans who are still surviving, of course other good humans. That night, while eating the results of the hunt, they talk about the past. The point is, Demian is a survivor who has seen many battles and lost many of his family members. So is Bannon. They are both survivors and are lucky to be able to meet each other. In the morning, Bannon doesn't find Demian. He looks for and finds the same old man when he hallucinates. Not only that, he even sees the figure of a woman who appears when in the dance room. Is Bannon still hallucinating until now? Bannon, who almost lost his mind, then wanted to shoot his gun at the old man. But he got shot from another direction, which turned out to be Demian. Luckily, Bannon was not hit directly, and there was a roll between them. In the end, Bannon lost his experience in using weapons. He tried to escape and was shot in the shoulder. Bannon tried to get his weapon back, but Demian shot him once more right into Bannon's stomach. Demian took food and drinks from Bannon's bag. Yes, this is life. Humans will always compete with each other. Never easily trust strangers, including Demian himself. Bannon was an easy target for Demian, who lost his will to live and despaired, knowing that he was alone out there. In the end, Bannon was left to bleed to death and died there.